This is where it all started in Australia. This is where it will all end. The Melbourne Cricket Ground. Will the MCG roll out a red carpet for Michael Clarke on his last match? For the hosts, the 11 Australian players, will they be crowned world champions, or will the MCG roll out the red carpet for Australia's fiercest rivals coming from across the border, the Kiwis under Brendan McCullum? The final of the Cricket World Cup 2015.
Until the end, until the final, blow of the whistle, sound of the horn, we will fight, we will conquer, emerge victorious, we are the champions.
I think the brand of cricket that we've played has really touched a lot of people, and
I couldn't ask for a better team, to be honest. And
we'll give it everything we possibly got.
I believe if we play our best, we can beat New Zealand tomorrow.
Is this the final you wanted?
Yep.
Until the end, until the final.
It's been the greatest time of our lives.
It's not emotion, it's skill that helps you win.
Both teams possess match winners throughout their squad.
I think the team's ready.
To build up to this mega final here at the MCG, we have three very special people joining us here in Melbourne. Sourav Ganguly, former India captain, Nasser Hussain, former England captain, and Geoff Marsh, who has the unique distinction of winning the World Cup as player, as coach of Australia in 1999, and perhaps can win the World Cup as father if Australia win tomorrow with Mitchell Marsh in this side. And I'll talk to them first about the Trans-Tasman rivalry. Australia v New Zealand, neighbours, two countries which play each other in a lot of sport, and there is always that extra spice. Be it rugby, be it cricket. Geoff, unique distinction, big match coming up tomorrow, Trans-Tasman rivalry. You've played New Zealand several times in your career. Talk about this rivalry for a start.
Yeah, well, I think it's been going on for many years. We've always found New Zealand so competitive when they play against us, and we call them the smaller, little place, but they produce some fantastic cricketers, and we always have great games of cricket against New Zealand, and I think tomorrow will be another beauty.
This World Cup, they have played some outstanding cricket. I mean, Brendan McCullum at the top of the order, Martin Guptill, Trent Boult, Tim Southee. Talk about the New Zealand performance so far.
Well, I think what New Zealand have done, I think everyone in the side has done something, and they've got good opening batters, they've got good opening bowlers, and they've been able to put pressure on middle orders of all the teams they play against. Their fielding is outstanding, so they're a very good all-round side, and Australia know that. They know that, and they've been watching, and they've done incredibly well so far, but hopefully tomorrow might be not their day.
Yes, India is not there, but two top teams, perhaps the two best teams of this competition clashing. Trans-Tasman rivalry, lot of history at the MCG to decide the new world champion. Big rivalry, big rivalry. To you first.
Yeah, I mean, we have it with Australia with the Ashes, but this is just up there as well, in a more friendly sort of way. They don't play each other that much in one-day cricket. But I think you're right. I think the two best sides, the two most aggressive sides with bat and ball have got through to the final. I think they both deserve to be there. Two very good captains, and it should be a cracking game tomorrow.
You agree?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Australia probably the best side. New Zealand have played superbly. Australia look a complete team, an all-round team with powerful batting, bowling, all five bowlers who can bowl at any stage of the game. Yeah, absolutely. Two most deserving teams in the final.
This whole Australia-New Zealand, does that add a bit of zing to it?
I'm not too sure. I think every world, even if it was Australia-India, that would have added a zing to it. Australia-England, that would have added a zing to it. I think it's the occasion. It's the World Cup final. It happens once in 4 years. For the first time for New Zealand, could be the fifth time for Australia. So that adds a lot more zing. At the MCG, one of the best grounds in the world. When you play World Cup finals at the MCG, at Lords, or maybe at Wanderers, at Eden Gardens, it's a completely different ball game. You want to be there, you want to win it, and you want to be remembered. These are big places, big occasions, big grounds. So there's always going to be zing.
What he said, I mean, first time for New Zealand, how big is this game? Biggest ever in New Zealand cricket history?
Yeah, Definitely. I mean, never been there before, playing against Australia, not been out of New Zealand in this tournament, which might be a concern for them. But I think they'll enjoy the occasion. I don't see them and their cricketers as chokers. They've got some quite tough cricketers. They've got their big hitters in McCullum and Corey Anderson and these sort of guys. But they've also got tough nuts as well. Kane Williamson, we saw Grant Elliott, the way he finished off against South Africa. Daniel Vettori, quiet performer, but he gets the job done. So both sides have some very, very tough cricketers. I think Australia just edge it being at home, but don't write off any side with McCullum as your captain.
Two evenly matched teams, and clearly two of the very best teams of this World Cup. One unbeaten and the other disposed of India in style at the SCG. Both packed with power hitters, two great captains and clearly fantastic fielding sides. Could not have been a better World Cup final in terms of talent. So who starts favourites? Will it be Australia here at the MCG because it's their home ground? Or will it be New Zealand because they've beaten Australia and remain unbeaten? Take a listen to what our experts have to say. Would you pick a favourite? And Saurav first, then to you. Would you pick a favourite when it's as big a game as this one?
Slightly ahead though, Australia, just the nose ahead, and as he said, with McCullum as captain, he's been outstanding. You know, I've seen McCullum as captain in his first year of captain with the T20 format, but what I see now is completely different kettle of fish. He's improved immensely, and with him as captain, yes, New Zealand will always have a chance, but I just get a feeling the way Australia has played, the bowling attack, their batting, the powerful batting lineup, they have maybe just a nose ahead at the MCG.
You agree?
Yeah, I think home favour, I've said this to you all along, home advantage is absolutely massive. You look at the last World Cup, two co-hosts got through to the final, and India on their home soil played absolutely brilliantly. I wouldn't write off McCullum though and his team, because McCullum at the moment has played just little cameos, flashy 40s and 50s. What he might need to do is, if he can smash 100 and bat for 30 overs, that's when Australia could be under a little bit of pressure. But I think Australia just favourites. They got so many different match winners with the bat and ball, playing at home, but it should be a cracking game. I just hope for a really close game.
Playing at the MCG, would you say Australia start favourites because they know that ground inside out?
Well, I think Australia start favourites because of that reason, yes, and I think that, they've played very well for a long time now in one-day cricket. But New Zealand, they've been building. This side from New Zealand has been building for a long time, the last couple of years. I believe that they've been to the MCG. They actually flew across here as a team and went in and sat in the MCG and said, this is our dream, this is where we want to work to. And I believe they did that. I think Australia been keeping a close eye on them, and, it's going to be tough.
Brendan McCullum versus Michael Clarke. Two of the best captains of this World Cup. One who will play his last game as Australian captain in the one-day international format, while the other, Nasser Hussain, says is the new kid on the block, the king of innovation as far World Cup 2015 is concerned.
No inch given. Not a centimetre asked for. And in the midst of this are two gladiators, Brendan McCullum and Michael Clarke.
I think mentally the team is ready for this final. If the game was today or the game was tomorrow, I think we're ready mentally. We've been building up throughout this tournament to get this opportunity to play a World Cup final.
Their game plan is now no secret. McCullum will go all out attacking. He will keep his best bowlers on in search of wicket. Expect slips as attacking fielders. Ditto with bat when New Zealand gets a chance. Australia will have a similar approach. Australia will show no restraint with the bat. Expect a lot of short-pitched stuff from the bowlers. Clearly the mantra from both sides is attack is the best form of defence.
It's been the greatest time of our lives. It's been an amazing trip. We dreamed right at the start, and to now give ourselves a 50-50 chance in the final is an amazing achievement.
I think the guys are ready to play. Like I said after the last game, mentally we are ready for this final. Physically we've got another day to recover or train and get what you need to be right for tomorrow. But I think the team's ready.
Is this the final you wanted?
Yep, I think that's a fair call. 100,000 people in Australia's backyard, Melbourne Cricket Ground, the history and the traditions and the Coliseum with which it is, against a very good Australian team. And
I believe if we play our best, we can beat New Zealand tomorrow. I don't buy into the favourites or not favourites. Or New Zealand have been the form team of the competition. New Zealand have beaten us once in this tournament. But I'm confident if we play our best, we can beat them tomorrow.
Another mini battle within this bigger battle is Michael Clarke versus Brendan McCullum. How good are these two, and analyse them for us?
Well, I think both players like to lead from the front. I think that's the great thing about both of those players. I mean, we've seen Brendan play some magnificent innings and get New Zealand off to a great start, and there's no doubt tomorrow that Australia will target Brendan and see him as a really important wicket to get early. Michael's just been a terrific captain and leader for Australia for a long, long time. We know that he's been our best player for about the last 10 years. I think that he'll want to get out there and lead from the front. His World Cup campaigns, was hampered by an injury going into it. Probably hasn't got the runs that he would like to before the final. But as we've seen with Michael Clarke over a number of years now, he is a big match player, and I think tomorrow he'll stand high.
The pre-match press conference today was absolutely jam-packed, and lots of questions. Michael Clarke versus McCullum. Michael Clarke versus... for you, analyse these two captains, and a word on both of them.
Both brilliant leaders, both hugely respected. Michael Clarke has been around longer, he's done the job longer, tactically very, very astute. McCullum, the new kid on the block, really, he's almost a new Michael Clarke. I think he has been the captain of the tournament, McCullum. The attacking fields he's set, he doesn't do things for show. I know captains that do things for show. Look at me, I'm a great attacking captain. I don't see that with McCullum. McCullum sets them because he believes that he needs to take wickets to win any game of cricket. And he also believes he needs the batsman to know that we're here to get you out. We're not sitting in, we're not just going to let you milk us around and smash it. We're here to get you out. And I think the brand and style of cricket that McCullum and his team have played have really generated a lot of interest in his team all around the world.
Michael Clarke versus Brendan McCullum, battle of tactics, strategic, placements, intellect. How do you describe it?
I think they both will be good. But McCullum, with whatever resources he's had this summer, has been outstanding in his own backyard in the conditions. But they're both very good captains, and I think they will be at their best tomorrow. Both have the side to back their captaincy, which is important. He may be tactically very good, but you need the ammunitions to beat the opposition. So both have that, and I am a big believer that it's going to be a good contest tomorrow.
There are some big performers on both sides. Some real key players, men who have taken the World Cup by storm. Brendan McCullum, Martin Guptill, who can forget that 237, Corey Anderson, that incredible knock in the semi-final, Grant Elliott, who finished it off against South Africa, and obviously Trent Boult and Tim Southee. On the Australian side, Dave Warner, Aaron Finch now back in form, Steve Smith, twinkle-toed genius many are calling him, Michael Clarke the last time in Australian ODI colours, James Faulkner, and Mitchell Starc, the bowler for me at this World Cup 2015. Each of these men will want to do it one final time, out to the other person, do it for his country, because the occasion just can't get bigger. It's the World Cup final in front of 90,000 people at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the pinnacle of achievement as far as ODI cricket is concerned.
There will be a galaxy of stars out there at the MCG when New Zealand take on Australia. And amongst them will be match winners. Expect the Aussies to come out all guns blazing. David Warner, who has scored more than 7 runs every over at this World Cup. Glenn Maxwell, who has scored almost 2 runs every ball. Steve Smith, who is batting like a dream. Mitchell Johnson, whose pace has lit up the tournament, and not to forget Mitchell Starc, who is no doubt the ace of pace. The Kiwis too will be ready to unleash their arsenal. Captain Brendan McCullum leads the pack, scoring at a strike rate of almost 200. Corey Anderson, the man who knows a thing or two about creating world records. Kane Williamson, who smashed a 6 off the last ball to beat the Aussies. Daniel Vettori, ready to spin a web. And Trent Boult, now he needs no introduction, does he?
There are some X-factor players. Both of you have spoken about these people. Glenn Maxwell, Trent Bolt. Identify some X-factor players that you would want to see tomorrow at the MCG.
You know, there are quite a few, but quite a few have to get runs as well. Warner needs to get runs. He needs to spend a bit more time at the crease. I thought Aaron Finch, who came into the game in the semi-final with not much of runs behind him, actually fought hard. I thought that was a very, very good innings. Yes, Smith didn't let the pressure come on him, but his batting at that end got them to a total where they could accelerate and get to 329. So I think he looked good. Smith obviously is in the form of his life. Maxwell, it could be anything, hit or miss. If he hits, he takes the game away. If he misses, you know, he allows the opposition to come in the game. Watson, I thought he played sensibly. I think that's the best number for him. Number 5, number 6, because I don't think he's good enough to bat at number 3 against the new ball. Then the Australian batting go right down. Faulkner, Haddon, you saw Mitchell Johnson the other day. For New Zealand, McCullum, I think, is a huge, huge factor. Corey Anderson, if he hits, you know, any ground is small. The different players, Elliott is different, Ross Taylor is different. So there are some serious players in the side. But when you look at those two teams, I think power hitters Australia have a bit more than New Zealand. New Zealand have quality as well. Ross Taylor, Kane Williamson. Kane Williamson is a class act. I think he'll be around for a long, long time for New Zealand. But if you look at power hitters, Australia are just ahead than the Kiwis.
Will it be power hitters who make a difference? Identify your X-factor players.
Well, there are X-factor players on both sides, and Sarah, and you have mentioned a lot of them, the Maxwells, etc. I actually think it will come down to the guys down the order, because these two sides are so evenly matched. I can't see a 9-wicket, victory. We saw in Auckland, just 1 wicket at the end there. So I think it's going to come down to maybe someone like Grant Elliott down the order, maybe, Faulkner, the finisher. I think it's going to come down to those finishers. 20 needed off 2 overs, wickets in, 4 wickets left. It's going to come down to who can handle the pressure best.
If I ask you to pick a few X-factor players, I mean, some of the players who've dominated this World Cup, Glenn Maxwell, for example, comes and hits all over, Brendan McCullum, even a Corey Anderson or a Trent Bolt. Who are your X-factor players as far as the final match is concerned?
I think Bolt has bowled exceptionally well in this tournament. I think that he's a player that could cause a lot of damage. Obviously, Brendan McCullum, Guptill, I think he's had a very good tournament, very good player. I think Vittori, we can't leave him out. He's a very experienced cricketer. I think that tomorrow it'll be a big occasion for him. But I think the Australian side, I think we got too many match winners. I think if you look at our bowling attack, Stark, Johnson, young Hazelwood's done well. I think if you look at our batting, it's Warner, Clark, Finch, Maxwell, Watson, Smith. I mean, it's a terrific back. And then you go deeper into Faulkner, then you've got Brad Haddon coming in at 8. And I think that's a real strength for Australian cricket.
That's all we have for you in this very special presentation. But before I leave you with this montage of achievement. Take a look at some very special performances from New Zealand. Martin Guptill with his 237. Grant Elliott, that amazing innings in that semi-final. Will it be one more Kiwi who puts his hand up, or will it be some Australian who will do it for Michael Clarke in his farewell contest? The stage cannot get bigger than this. The World Cup final awaits you. Thanks for watching.